You're listening to the Foundation Dental Podcast, strategic conversations for dentists and leaders building long-term value in dentistry. I'm Dr. Jim Arnold. Let's get into today's conversation. Hey, welcome to the Foundation Dental Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Jim Arnold, and today's guest is a very good friend of mine, somebody I'm really excited to see here in Chicago for the Chicago Midwinter Dental Meeting. Dua has become very near and dear to my heart, but she's someone who represents the next generation of dentistry, intelligent, intentional, and unapologetically original. Dr. Dua Farhoud is a New Orleans-born aesthetic dentist with dual degrees in neuroscience and public health, a growing digital presence as at Dr.Dua, and a bold entrepreneurial vision for her future. She blends science, culture, motherhood, and modern branding into a career that looks very different from the traditional path. And she was the very first dentist to say yes to our Dubai luxury dental retreat last summer, a decision that sparked a powerful friendship and an even bigger vision. Dua, I'm so glad that you came to Chicago this week and that you're sitting down with me to have this conversation.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for that introduction. That was beautiful.
Absolutely. I mean, it just doesn't even scratch the surface of what an extraordinary human you are.
That is so sweet.
Our friendship means a lot to me. And so I'm excited for our listeners to get to know you a little bit, just who you are and what you do, and just, in my mind, what makes you just really extraordinary and special.
Thank you. I'm ready.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Yeah.
So if someone is just meeting you for the first time, tell us who Dua is today, beyond the degree and the white coat.
First of all, I'm a mother. You did mention that. That's the most important thing in my life, is being a mother to my 4-year-old, almost 5-year-old daughter. And just being that role model for her is the most important thing. Besides that, I love traveling, meeting new people, meeting people like you, growing my career, and just really growing myself.
You love to get out and meet people who kind of elevate the way you think and the way you see your career and the opportunities in dentistry.
Yes. And I love to travel. I think I mentioned that. And basically just getting out there and representing Muslim women, single mothers, just showing them that you can be whoever you want to be as long as you put the work in.
Absolutely. And, one of the things I love about you is just how genuine, how authentic you are, and just, not just proud of your heritage, but proud of, I guess, your upbringing in New Orleans.
Right.
It's such an interesting background.
Isn't it?
Growing up Palestinian American in New Orleans.
Yeah.
How did that shape the way that you relate to patients?
Oh, well, I ended up being a minority wherever I go, so like a woman in hijab in New Orleans. But also when I go back to Palestine, I'm also a minority there too. So you have to kind of, you start relating to everyone that is also a minority. Mm-hmm. You start being a little more empathetic, being more aware of everybody's going through something, or everybody has their thing, and just using that emotional intelligence to connect with people.
I think that's such a good point. I think that anyone with sort of an interesting and sort of eclectic background, I mean, let's be honest, there aren't a lot of Palestinian Americans who grew up in New Orleans and that just whole sort of culture.
Right. So we do have a good bit of a Palestinian community there. It's actually nothing like Chicago, though. There's a lot of people, Palestinians here, so many, huge population.
Absolutely.
In New Orleans, we do have our little community, but as I started gaining education and gaining experience, as you go up in those levels, there's less and less people like you.
Yeah.
And so I ended up being a lot of times the only one in hijab at Tulane. I think there was something like 13,000 people, and there was maybe one, or I maybe saw another one. So I was always like, okay, that's her. And then obviously in dental school, I think me and we call it my mentor in dental school. It was just me and her, and we were the first 2 women in hijab who had ever been to LSU dental school. And so I guess we inspired some people, because after we graduated, a lot more Muslim women started, enrolling in dental school.
That's
and
fantastic.
Yeah, and I have a lot of girls reach out to me and say, hey, how can I how can I be like you? How can I do what you're doing right now? And
That's really
just,
cool. I mean, you're in
yeah,
a position where you can be a role model to a lot of young Muslim women.
yeah.
And, I think your microphone through social media and just kind of the brand that you're building as a human, as a dentist, as a Muslim woman in
Hmm.
America. I mean, these are things that I think that a lot of people can identify with.
Hmm.
And anybody who feels marginalized for some reason
Right.
because they're a minority or whatever, I think
Hmm.
that these are super valuable lessons for people to learn.
I think so too. And it just makes me feel so fulfilled in life because I wish I had that growing up. I wish I had a role model to look to.
Yeah.
But it was always just me like kind of clawing through, kind of just trying to make it work and seeing like what sticks.
Yeah.
My parents, they didn't finish college and they came to America a little later in life. And so they didn't know all the rules. They didn't know how to apply to college. They didn't know, they're immigrants and I'm first generation. And
Yeah.
so a lot of first generation kids can kind of relate that, hey, we just have to make it work and
Hmm.
trying to make our parents proud at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
What a wonderful story,
Thank
kind
you.
of origin story.
Yeah.
And even your educational background is really interesting. I mean,
Hmm.
before you got into dentistry, you were studying neuroscience, public health. I mean, those
I
are
did dabble in business too.
and
And I was like,
business. Okay,
yeah,
well, I mean, I look at that and I think what a fantastic background for a
yeah,
dentist,
yeah,
something that most dentists never even touch
right.
while getting their education.
Yeah.
And, all that having been said, with that interesting educational background, how does that impact like how you diagnose and communicate with patients? I mean,
Right.
it's got to come into play.
Oh, it does. And I don't realize how much it does
Yeah.
until I really sit down and think about it. So, like, public health obviously is what the community needs from the government or
Yeah.
from community leaders and how we can make it better for the community as a whole.
Hmm.
In America, we're so individualized and focused on the individual, but really, people to be healthy, we need the community to come together as a village
Hmm.
and help people get better, help people succeed in life. You
Yeah.
can't do it on your own.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that everything we do, it takes community.
it
No
does.
one should stand alone on an island. And I
Right.
think in dentistry in particular, a lot of dentists feel that way.
Hmm.
You could be in a group practice and
Oh,
still
yeah.
feel alone on an island, right?
100%. Yes.
And then just people in society in general. And,
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know about you. Actually, I think I do. But as a dentist, I always felt like, man, like I may not have a lot in common with this guy or this woman or
Right.
these people, but I think one of the things that we do as dentists, or it's incumbent upon us to do, is
Hmm.
help put people at ease
Right.
and find that kind of common thread, that
Hmm.
humanity that connects us
Exactly.
and does make people feel like
Right.
they're being cared for.
Yeah. And studying public health definitely opens your eyes to those disparities that people have to deal with to get regular, decent care.
Yeah.
And, dentistry, there's already an extra barrier to entry compared to just like regular medicine.
Hmm.
So when you have like a disadvantaged person sit in your chair,
Hmm.
you're like, I know what this person is going through.
Yeah.
Whether they come from a place that doesn't have access to dentistry in general, or they don't have insurance, or you become a lot more aware and you
Yeah.
become a lot more gentle with the patient that's in your chair.
It's so great. And I think you just said something that really resonated with me because empathy is such a huge part of
Huge.
what we do as dentists.
Yes.
And without empathy, you can't lead.
You
can't
can't.
lead people. You can't create a safe environment for patients, for your team. But when you lead with empathy and you
Right.
kind of put yourself in other people's shoes,
Hmm.
then I think that kind of authenticity makes people feel much more relaxed in what can be, an anxiety-inducing situation.
100%.
Yeah.
And you can be the most perfect technical dentist, but if you don't have the empathy, you're not going to succeed. You are going to be, patients just won't come to you.
Yeah.
I said this before, but they used to say this all the time in dental school. You could have the most perfect margins. You could have the most perfect composite filling. But if you didn't make that patient feel comfortable,
That's right.
you didn't succeed. You didn't do what you needed to do as a provider for this patient.
Absolutely. And, you and I could do a full podcast just on that. I mean,
Yes.
because it is such an essential piece that I think that to some degree, some people have it more than others just naturally.
Right.
But I do think that it's a
It's a
skill
learnable skill.
that you can learn.
I think so
Like,
too.
so many things that we don't learn in dental school,
Right.
unfortunately, which I
Right.
think we'll start to see changing
I think
little
so
by
as
little.
well. Yeah.
We do have access to those sort of life lessons, those life
Right.
skills, and that all comes down to kind of mentorship.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to change gears for just a second because you're not like a typical associate.
Yeah.
Again, I said you were the first one to sign up for the Dubai Luxury Dental Retreat last summer.
I was so surprised when you told me that.
Yeah. I mean, I was
mind-blown.
blown away because I was pleasantly surprised because it's not typically something an associate would do.
Right.
But you as an associate who just kind of sees things and I think does things at a higher level than most. Like if I was a young dentist and I came to shadow you for a day, what do you think I would see that you wouldn't see with sort of a typical young associate?
Oh, that's funny. I think just taking more time with my patients than my colleagues do in the office and just really getting their story and knowing exactly why, for example, they took so long to come to the dentist.
Mm-hmm.
Like what are their fears? What is worrying them about this appointment? And getting to the core of that early on in the appointment, rather than just pushing through and trying to just diagnose, treat, drill and fill. You really need to get the background to have excellent treatment.
Yeah.
And then what else would they see? And just me, we would say vibing with my assistants, with my patients, just having everything flow and not having this very cold, back in the day. And, the doctor was the doctor and the assistants were assistants. No, I treat everybody on the same level as me.
What's so important is I think it's more important now than it's ever been before in terms of culture within an office.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, since the pandemic, I think it's become more difficult to recruit and retain top talent than it's ever been.
I agree.
And so guess what? I mean, obviously top talent, you got to be able to pay them well or at least competitively, but you also have to create this culture that people are attracted to, drawn to, and when they come in, they want to stay forever, right?
Right. And I think that's what these older DSOs and these older private practices are struggling with. They want to hold on to that old culture so much.
Yeah.
But this new generation is all about being emotionally aware and being more empathetic and being, I hate to say the word woke, but that's what it is these days. And you just have to be just a good person at the end of the day and just treat everybody with respect.
And obviously that's a great life lesson for everybody, but I think that it's even more important as dentists or as dental team members because of, again, the anxiety that a lot of people carry to appointments with them.
Right.
But, you as a mother,
I
mean, obviously that's the most important role that you're ever going to have.
Yes.
But, how did becoming a mother change like your career ambition and like how you see you like, I guess, your trajectory moving forward?
Oh, I think it just 10x'd everything.
Yeah.
I was comfortable as an associate, making my little per diem salary, going home, just chilling at home after work, which is fine and great. And you're still doing better than most people in the world doing that. However, when you have a little girl watching you and watching every move you're making and just looking up to you and just wanting to copy everything you're doing, no matter what it is, you're like, I have to be the best version of myself.
Yeah.
Because I have these little eyes looking up at me, and
they see everything.
They see everything.
They hear
catch everything.
Yeah.
You don't realize. I didn't realize how much she was watching me until like a couple times she'll like mention things here and there, and I'm like, how do you know that? And she's only 4, and I'm like, they're really sponges, and they soak it all up.
It's just such a miracle,
It is.
like how they do that
is.
and how every conversation, every interaction, it's a building block towards the person that they're going to become.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she has a pretty good role model in you.
I sure hope so.
No, she definitely does.
It's something that keeps me up at night for sure. I hope I can do the best for her.
So, you refer to yourself as an aesthetic dentist. And I love that. I was an aesthetic dentist while I was practicing and I taught it and did it and was really passionate about it. So fun. It like changed lives, that sort of thing. But, a lot of people just look at aesthetic dentistry as like veneers and whitening, that sort of thing. But to you, like what does aesthetic dentistry mean beyond, veneers and whitening? Because
it means really, the whole face.
Yeah, it
encapsulates
means a lot
everything.
more, right?
Like you change somebody's smile, you change their aura, you change how they feel about themselves.
Yeah.
If we want to get technical, we can get into like facial balancing and adding Botox and fillers and doing lip flips and stuff to more tooth show, less tooth show. And that, I mean, that's aesthetic dentistry in general, which is great if we want to go that way. But I just like also aesthetics at the end of the day. I like making things look beautiful and pretty, but also functional. That's the most important part.
You know what? I think is cool. The teeth are almost like the picture.
Right.
And then the lips are like the matting.
Right,
and then
right,
the
right.
face is the frame.
Right, right.
And if you really look at it that way, it's so much more than just the beautiful teeth.
Right.
The whole smile, the whole persona, like you said, the aura.
The aura.
And look, we're all so impacted by what we see in the mirror. And we're all our own worst critics. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But when you look in the mirror and you're not happy with how your smile looks and that sort of thing, I mean, it really impacts how you relate
100%.
with other people and how you interact.
100%.
Yeah.
And patients will be surprised. Like I'll get a crown back or some veneers back from the lab.
Yeah.
And I don't like the shade, but the patient hasn't noticed it. And
Yeah.
they're fine with it.
Right.
And I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I think we should send it back.
Yeah.
And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, I know you love it, but I think we can get it just a little better. And patients appreciate that so much. They're like, thank you for being honest with me. And that, I think that's the core of being an aesthetic dentist, just doing what you know is right for the patient and their overall look.
Because let's be honest, patients don't necessarily understand some of the nuances when it comes to, aesthetics, when you're talking about, porcelain. But because of your experience and your keen eye for that sort of thing, you're going to hold those cases to a higher standard than patients are very often.
Right.
And, when you take pride in what you do and you want to change lives,
right.
then it's, we really need to, share our expertise, because without that, they might be happy with it, but it may not be at a level that,
100%.
It would be otherwise.
At the end of the day, that's my reputation out there. Somebody's going to ask, who did your veneers or who did your teeth?
Absolutely.
And if they refer back to me, then I want it to be the best advertisement out there.
100%.
Yeah.
That leads right in my next question. when you design a smile, and I know the answer because I'm very passionate about this too. But what are you really designing? Is it confidence, identity, transformation?
All of it.
Yeah.
All of it. All of it. All of it. My goal is for the patient to grab that mirror when I hand it to them and just go silent. Because every time they go silent and stare at themselves, I know that we did a good job. I know that I changed their life right there in that moment.
Man, that is like the best part of being a dentist.
Such
that moment.
Yes, that moment.
And sometimes even the moment when they got their temporaries.
Right.
Because honestly, sometimes that induced even more tears because it was such a dramatic transformation over just a couple of hours. And then they get used to it for a couple of weeks.
And then the temporary is not
right?
great, but it's still so life-changing to them. And they're like, I could just go around like this. I'm like, please don't go around like that.
Right.
Come back when I call you for your permanence. But it's just a surprise every time how good you can make that patient feel in the chair.
Oh, that's amazing.
It is.
It is one of the biggest things I miss about being,
so
an
fulfilling.
actual hands-on, practicing dentist.
People think it's maybe like a little superficial to like veneers or what, but it's actually not.
No.
It is.
It's your identity.
You're changing somebody's identity.
It impacts your relationships. It impacts your career.
Oh, yeah.
And that sense of self-confidence means that, look, you can bring more to other people. You can be more for other people.
That
be more for
ripple
yourself.
effect.
Be more for your family because of the way that you feel inside, based upon what you see when you look in the mirror.
Good, you feel good, and you put that out in the world.
That's right. And they interact with you in a more positive way. I mean,
100%.
It's all about like vibrating at the right frequency.
Exactly.
Because what we think about, we bring about. And
100%.
we're putting that energy out there and that glow and that aura.
Right.
It all comes back to us through those interactions.
Exactly.
It's magic, isn't it?
100%. It is. And when you have a patient that was already nervous to come to the dentist, already scared.
Yeah.
And then you change their lives, and now they're telling their kids or their family members, no, you got to go to the dentist. And no, we're changing lives. And not just that life in the chair, but everybody else around them.
Oh, no doubt about it. That's right. And, one thing that's challenging, like within a group practice to build a personal brand, I mean, a lot of times a practice has an identity,
right?
And that dentists or team members within that practice, they kind of adopt that same identity.
Yes.
But for you, like what boundaries or mindset shifts made it possible for you to create your personal brand within that practice?
Right. So to be honest, for a while, I was kind of just blending into them. Just as a new dentist, I've been with the same practice for since I graduated, basically for almost 6 years.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, you have to kind of take on their identity to kind of fit in and learn the ropes and kind of gain experience. And once you start gaining your speed and finding your footing, then I was like, okay, I need to branch out because this is not what I want. This is not all what I want from life.
Yeah.
So once I started seeing people like you on social media, other dentists on social media, I mean, for me, even in dental school, building a brand is something I wanted. It was just never the right timing.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, okay, this is fully me. I can do this all on my own, and I know exactly what the vision is. And right now, as an associate, you kind of get some people like, why are you doing that? Like, that's kind of weird. Like,
Yeah.
they're kind of trying to talk you out of it. But if you see the vision and you're set, you kind of have to just block all of that out.
Well, and that's, I think, a really good point, because a lot of times we do let the noise or what other
Yeah.
people's expectations are like impact how we present ourselves.
Right.
And you can't do that.
You can't.
When you do have that clear vision and you want to present yourself in a certain way, because that's who you are,
Right.
and you want to draw people to you that vibe with that sort of persona,
Mhm.
you're the only one who can control that.
100%.
And, you can get input and all that sort of thing, but sometimes you do. You just got to put the blinders on and go.
And as humans, we kind of have that. We naturally slow down when people start telling. It gets in our head.
It does.
And so, like, I'm if I didn't listen to anyone, then I probably could have had like so much more presence on social media years ago.
I tell you what, it's never too late. And I've loved seeing your increased presence on social media over the past several months.
you.
I mean, really since Dubai. I've
Yeah.
seen you like kind of come out of your shell a
I
little
did.
bit.
It was
be
actually
less
Dubai was
shy.
like kind of the trigger.
Well, it's not
Yeah.
easy. When you don't love being on camera, and
Right.
you're just kind of shy about
Yeah,
that sort of
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
It takes time to sort of develop
Mhm.
that. But I've watched you.
Yeah.
I've watched you grow, and I love that. And I
Thank you.
always wonder, like, when you hit post on Instagram,
Oh God.
like, I mean, what are you actually building with that? I mean, is it something that I don't know. Is it like part of your attracting patients? Is it part of building community?
It's
Is
all
it
of it.
legacy? I mean, how do you look at that?
I think it's all of it. First and foremost, it's building a brand, building a presence.
Yeah.
Which everyone needs in this day and age. Patients are not they're not Googling dentists anymore. They're actually going to dentists because of what they saw on TikTok or Instagram or whatever. But beyond that, I've always said, like I said earlier, it's building a community, being a role model, presenting myself in a way that represents who I am as a person, my faith, how I want to show up in the world, how I want my daughter to view me and look up to me. It's all of that encompassed in this one Instagram account, I guess.
Man, I love that. And I mean, I've tried to do something similar, and I'm a little bit scattershot here, there, and everywhere. But you know what? It's kind of me, and it's okay.
It's
I
okay.
can have just raw video of me on my phone, my hair all messed up, walking out of the gym, because it's me.
It's you.
And I love doing polished stuff, because there's also that side. I like to be professional.
Like earlier, you were like, it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
But for me, like, I'm just like more of it has to look a certain way. And sometimes I'll get on stories and act like a little, less polished version.
Sure.
But it's just the way I want to present myself and show up in the world is just a little different than your vision for your brand
and
is.
I think that's great. And again, we all have our own vision. We all have our personal brand, and we should all feel comfortable in our own skin and share what we want to with people.
I agree.
So what's one thing like young dentists often get wrong about building like a modern career? You come out of school, and some people have a clearer vision of what they want to do than others.
Right.
I didn't really have a vision at all. I was like, man, I just want to pay back my student loans.
Me too.
But for you, looking at, not that long out of school, like, what do young dentists like really need to know, like looking ahead at their career in this sort of more modern era?
Right. So it's
because you've learned a lot in 5 years.
Yeah, you do learn a lot once they just throw you out there after dental school. You get a license to practice, but you really know nothing. It's basically day one on your own, and you're just like, nobody's watching me. What do I do from here? So basically, there's no wrong answer. There's no wrong way to do dentistry. There's no wrong way to build your career. If you want to be a social media person, you can be that social media person. If you want to go just open a practice and just build a DSO, you can do that. There's the beauty of dentistry and being a dentist is you can do whatever you want. You don't ever have to practice dentistry after you graduate.
It's true.
And we're so blessed to have a profession that offers these options to us.
I agree 1,000%. And one of the things I say often is there are 50 different ways to practice dentistry, run a dental practice. And as long as you
100%.
do it in integrity with the
Exactly.
patient first, and then your
That's
team is
all it
all
is.
part of that, and treat everyone with
Patient
respect,
first,
and just do the
100%.
very best that you can. And, you mentioned a minute ago just that perfectionism, which is it's an affliction that lots of us suffer from.
Yes. Analysis paralysis is
Yeah,
something I suffer
it
from.
really can be, but
Yeah.
it's incumbent upon us to really pursue excellence.
Mhm.
Sometimes perfection can almost get in the way of
Oh, yeah.
excellence. So, yeah, it's just I think a lot of times we as dentists kind of get wrapped up into that, and it's
100%.
can stifle growth a little
Yeah,
bit.
for sure. Like before I post something, I'm like reading the caption a million times. I'm like, okay, do I look good in this clip? Does
Yeah.
this look okay? I drive the guys crazy saying, hey, can we do this? Can we do this?
Yeah, right.
But it's something I'm working on for
Yeah.
sure. But as you practice, it's something you practice too. As you realize, it's just put it out there.
Yeah.
Nobody's noticing these things that
Done
you're
is better
noticing.
than perfect sometimes, right?
So sometimes,
Sometimes, yeah, I know, right? We
you
can't
know
give it
us,
all away.
right,
Exactly.
right, right.
I'm the same
Most
way.
things do have to be perfect in my eyes, but you're doing good enough. You're doing better than most people
Absolutely.
when you have that eye for things.
I'm going to change over for a second here.
Uh-huh.
I want to talk about Dubai a little bit
Yeah,
because,
let's talk.
you, as I mentioned before, you were the first dentist
Yeah.
to sign up for the
Yeah.
Dubai Luxury Dental Retreat
Yeah.
last summer, which, by the way, was just the first of many because
Right.
it's such a special
I'm
place.
so excited.
But what is it that made you like so confident and for you to sign up so quickly? Why did you do that?
I had actually just come back from Dubai for another trip. It was a leisure trip for like a couple days on the way to another location. And in Dubai, I'm like, okay, this is the aesthetic of who I want to be as a dentist.
Mm-hmm.
I want to eventually, the thought was at the time to move out of the States, go to Dubai and do my thing there and build my personal brand in that way.
Wow.
And I actually I started researching, Googling, like, how can I get there?
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know if you do this, but like you get on ChatGPT and you start planning your life and you're like, okay, 5 years from now, I want to be this. What are the steps?
When I grow up.
Right. And then I have this, and this to do. How can I, achieve that in this time? And so that's kind of where it started. And as I was Googling, somehow your dental luxury retreats showed up on one of my searches. I think it was actually a Facebook ad.
Okay.
I'm like, this is exactly what I need. How can I get there? And I clicked, I filled out the form, and I found you on Instagram. I'm like, okay, let's do it. And just talking to you for the first time, I'm like, okay, this is a person I need to be in the same room with whenever I can. Just you're so warm, you're so giving. You just want to pour into the people that you work with, and then you're so well connected as well, and you're so generous with your time, and you're generous with your connections. As soon as I say something, you're like, I got somebody that can help you with that. And I'm like, oh, Jim, you just made this like 10 times easier. I could have done this on my own.
You kind of see everything.
Right.
And you get to know a lot of people.
I agree. But you also, there's people that have had the same experience that you have, but they're not going to be as generous with those connections or those tips.
So, when I look back at my career, I had so many great mentors.
Mm-hmm.
I was so fortunate, so blessed. And I was very intentional about that.
Yeah.
I saw people doing things that I wanted to do.
Right.
And who were already really good at it. And I thought, you know what? If I go and learn from them, spend time with them, I'm not only going to learn from them directly, but I'm going to learn from them indirectly just by being in
around
their
them.
Orbit.
That's
because
how
let's be
I
honest,
feel as well.
We're all a product of the 5 people we spend the most time with, that sort of thing.
I love that quote.
But elevating your thinking, your mindset, just being in that room with people who are thinking at a different level, even if it's not something direct, just that sort of vibe is something that I think helps.
100%.
Yeah.
And when you go from being in a room that doesn't have those people and you're thrown into a room where you seek out that room that has high level thinkers like you and everybody else that was on that trip, you're like, oh, this feels like home.
Right.
You go back after and you're like, oh God, I love these people, but I love them.
Yeah.
And I love the environment.
So, I think you make a really good point. And what I found as a young dentist, when I was in that kind of room, it was, it was exciting. It was exciting, and seeing other people's enthusiasm and passion, like, just elevated, like, everything about the way I looked at our profession.
Right.
And I mean, let's be honest, there's a lot of negativity out there.
Right.
There are a lot of dentists who are just really unhappy with what they do, and they do kind of walk around like Eeyore,
Yeah.
just like, woe is me, and oh, it's so terrible, and
Yeah.
insurance and patients and all the
Right.
problems. And look, those things are all legitimate because we all deal with them. By the same token, if you spend time with people who are just so hyper-focused on that, it drags you down.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to be a 10, like, be in a room full of 10s who, are trying to look at all of the positive, dealing with the negative, dealing with the challenges.
Dealing with it.
But, like, if they've gotten through a lot of those things, that's another just great way to fast track your success.
And being in that room with you, Dr. Rasner, Dr. Buski, Elijah, everybody, and the other attendees, you realize, like, okay, the only way to succeed is to be positive, is to look on the bright side.
Yeah.
There was not one negative person in that room.
Isn't that amazing?
Not one negative person. And then you start thinking, like, okay, that's why they're successful, is that they can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and they're just working toward that. Not that their lives are easy, but they're working through those hard times.
So tell me this, like, you've been to a lot of different CE in your short career and everything, but how does the weekend in Dubai, like, compare to traditional CE, like a typical course you go to?
It just it was on a different level. Not only did we have, like, great conversation, we had amazing food, fine dining. We were talking about anything and everything, and just every part of the trip I gained something from, whether it was like a new friendship or a new connection or a new contact that I had through one of you guys, or just being in an environment that was so high level in all ways. With the high level thinkers, with the beautiful atmosphere, with the beautiful hotel that we were in. It was just like, this is what I want my life to look like for the rest of my life.
I love that. And that's exactly, it's music to my ears, because that was my vision.
Yeah.
It took a year to kind of make that vision a reality. And I just decided I'm not going to compromise. We're going to curate the room, make sure we have a room full of positive people who are thinking, about things on, the level that elevates one another as opposed to takes anybody down.
Yeah.
I told you guys the first night, that first dinner. And by the way, I was very confident that it was all going to go that way because I spent hundreds of hours putting it all together. But there's still that little, thing in the back of my mind when I'm saying, look, at the end of this weekend, I want you guys to feel like you got way more value out of this than what it cost to actually attend.
And I told you that. I said, I think I gained way more than what I paid for this. And even though I know you're targeting not young dentists like me, I think you were targeting people a little further on in their career. But I kept telling you, I think I gained the most out of everybody that attended, because I was so early, because I hadn't started anything. It was a fresh slate. I was thinking about opening a practice, and you guys just poured into me. And I'm like, okay, I could have made these mistakes on my own, but because I met you guys, I don't have to make those mistakes anymore.
When you talk about curating a room, for me, it was really about the individuals. It didn't really matter where they were in their sort of practice or professional life cycle. And that's how I feel about the Mastermind. It's really just bringing great, like-minded people together who all come at things from a little different perspective, different life experiences. And that's why I loved, we were a very eclectic group. If you look at the photo of the 12 of us on that trip, we have all ethnicities and colors and backgrounds and we're
different.
Like
we had
family.
Specialists, we had general dentists. It was just, we had an associate, we had practice owners. It was just a beautiful, compilation of everything dentistry could be.
And, so there's really no avatar. It's like, if you come with an open heart and an open mind, you're willing to not only take it all in, but to share of yourself, which you were, of course, and everybody else in that room was, magic happens. It really did.
It did.
I was very emotional, as you recall, the last night. I get emotional just thinking about it now.
It was such a beautiful
experience.
Because
to look back on that, to see how kind of beautiful it all was, whether it's the education or the time together, on a yacht, or just the conversations that happened over dinner, and sharing these sort of life-changing experiences. Obviously, as the guy who sort of had the vision and organized it, I had a great sense of pride about that. But
you should be so proud, Jim.
Thank you.
Proud.
But more, I just looked at all of you guys and thought, man, they're like family. there's somebody who's going to be part of my life for a long
Right.
time. So,
And we did walk away with that. You and I,
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
where we are right now.
Was there like a specific moment, in that trip that just changed the way you see your future? And I know the whole thing did,
The
but was there
whole
a moment
thing.
that just
I
like
mean,
a
that
light
evening,
bulb
that
went on?
last dinner, like
Yeah.
when we were all just like sharing how our experience on that trip, and just having the cake for you, and just saying,
Oh my
looking back,
God.
like just
Guys
standing
made me
back.
cry my eyes
I
out. Oh
know,
my
it's
God.
so good, but like just standing back and just taking it in, be like, I really just changed my life with this little trip right here. Something that I did pray on it a lot. It was a lot of money for me as an associate to go
Yeah,
on this.
absolutely.
But that moment when I was just standing back and looking at everyone and be like, wow, this was the perfect thing. This is exactly what I needed at this pivotal moment in my life. Because I was kind of lost for a little bit. I was getting bored of my associateship.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do I open a practice? How do I do I want to be tied to that? Like, how can I elevate my life?
Yeah.
And this just came at the perfect time.
So, timing is everything.
It is.
And sometimes it's not the right fit or it's not now,
Mhm.
but maybe later, that sort of thing. But like for you, when you think about being in that environment, like how did, was there like a shift in your confidence, your vision, your clarity for your future?
You guys actually did make my head big a little bit, because everybody was like, you are so young, and why are you here? How are you here? And I'm like, I'm just a dentist, y'all. I'm just a dentist.
Yeah.
But you guys really did speak that into me. And
Yeah.
actually, I went back, and like a couple weeks passed by. She's like, my mom, she was like, you're a different person. And I'm like,
Really?
she really did say that. She's like, you've changed. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, it's just the way you carry yourself.
Yeah.
And then in that moment, I looked back, I'm like, that's because I had all these great people, all these people that were successful in their careers telling me that I'm on the right path.
Yeah.
I had a moment with Dr. Rasner, and he's like, I see myself in you. And I'm like, oh my God.
What
Oh
a
my God.
compliment, because he's
What
an
a
amazing
compliment.
guy.
And like somebody that's like completely different, like
I
put us
know,
next to
right?
each other,
Right.
and we would probably have never talked in any other situation.
Sure.
If we would have like passed each other at midwinter or something and not even looked at each other's direction. But being in the same room as him, having
Yeah.
those deep conversations, and realizing we are a lot more similar than we thought we were.
Isn't that amazing?
I call him my dental dad, and his wife my dental mom. It was such a beautiful moment, and that's when I think that really shifted my whole perspective on my life, on myself. Like I really did gain so much confidence from that, and I still don't realize how much it changed me.
You know what's cool about that, Dua, is, you were the youngest person in the room, and
Mhm.
I agree. You got a lot out of it, and some of it's just conversations, relationships, feeling like just more confident and
Mhm.
having a clear vision. But, I want you to know that like we all felt that way. I mean, I know Steve walked away feeling like he got a lot out of it.
Yeah.
I walked away feeling like I got a lot out of it.
Yeah.
And beyond just the experiences, the things we did, it was just
Mhm.
the people with whom I was conversing
Right.
on a daily basis.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so that's cool. Like obviously it's a lot of money. It's a big investment,
Yeah.
because Dubai's not cheap.
It's not cheap.
Staying at the Ritz-Carlton Dubai, we're going to Michelin star dinners, we're doing VIP activities, we're going out on a yacht, and all these things that sort of elevate the
But
experience.
you did not compromise on one thing, and that's what made it perfect. Was like
Yeah.
you promised and you over-delivered. Like I don't know how you can over-deliver on something like that, but you made it happen, and you just did. You over-delivered, and I was just so pleased with how everything turned out.
Well, I'm happy, and that's how I try to comport myself in everything
Yeah.
I do in life, whether it's a mastermind, whether it's Dubai, whether it's a practice transition, all those things. I just love sharing my experiences and
Right.
my knowledge and my relationships to hopefully
Yeah.
help other people like be successful more quickly
You're doing
and more
it.
seamlessly than I was.
Yeah.
So, obviously, again, back to the financial aspect, I mean, $10,000, I mean, it's a lot of money to go on an all-inclusive trip like this, to, do the education, have the experiences, build the relationships and everything. But so some dentists are like, wow, well, I could do this for 10, I could do this and all
Mhm,
these
mhm.
things. Like, what would you tell somebody who's reticent about spending that kind of money on the Dubai experience that's just coming up this May?
Right. So 100%, it is worth it. It is worth the money, and I think it's actually worth more than what you're charging for it. I think it accelerated my career path at least 5, if not 10 years. It catapulted me. Just learning about like already before I even had a practice, you guys are like telling me, okay, think about your exit plan, and I didn't even have a location yet.
When you
And,
don't even have an entrance
like,
plan, it's like,
right?
wait, exit
What's
plan, what are you talking
yeah,
about?
exactly. No entrance plan, but already be thinking about your exit.
Yeah.
And it just changes the way you think. And you're already like telling me, look at this before you do this.
Yeah.
Go talk to this person before you do that. And it's just shaving off that time, saving all that time that you can pour into other things and other passions that you have and your family, because you're not focused and tied up in all the nitty-gritty of something that, if I didn't have you guys, I would be tied up with.
I think that's one of the biggest lessons that any dentist can learn, or any human can learn, but it's particularly people early in their careers, beginning with the end in mind,
right?
And then reverse engineering everything back from that.
Yes.
But that takes getting some clarity about what you think that end is. And by the way, as we all know, that can change. We kind of zigzag through our careers, and maybe this does end up being where we want to go, but the path to get there is somewhat convoluted at times.
And as you grow and gain experience, and you start realizing, okay, I don't like this, I do like this, I feel more myself here, and I don't here, and you start kind of just curating that life for yourself.
Yeah.
But when you have other people that have experienced these things already and giving you their tidbits and their pearls, then you start to create a more clearer picture of what you want your life to look like. And that's what Dubai, I think, offered for me.
Looking at you and your 5-year career to this point, what's the hardest internal lesson you've learned? Just about yourself, about your profession, that sort of thing.
Internal, so many things, but just not listening to those outside voices, and just knowing like what I'm doing is correct for me, is right for me. This is the life I want to live. Knowing why I want to, finding out my why, and knowing why I want to do this. Huge.
Yeah.
And just being able to articulate that and write that down, and being clear on that.
Yeah.
And then, okay, what do I have to do to get there?
Yeah.
And being really set in that. I think that's what's most important, because like I said, growing up, I was always like the odd one out. I mean, I was always like succeeding in school, but I was always different than everybody else. So that kind of, at some point, in middle school, you kind of just want to blend in. You don't want to be the ugly duckling. But and so that kind of like puts you in a place, okay, let me just blend in. And I tried to blend in for so long, just to kind of not rock the boat.
I'm glad you're not blending in now.
Thank you.
Glad,
and so when I stopped blending in, that's when things started changing for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people, everybody goes through those awkward years, and some more than others, but it's part of the human condition.
Yeah.
And we all share that kind of experience as we grow up. But some of us, like you said, you feel like you've been a minority in every room you've been in.
And I think that's what was the most. Like I was already, like I said, I think I started wearing my hijab around 16 years old. And already before that, I don't look like everybody else in my class in middle school. And, and so, and then also religion-wise, like you're not like everybody else. So you're always different. And then in middle school, high school, you just want to be like everyone else.
Yeah.
And so that you carry that through college, and then also dental school. I think I just still wanted to blend in, but knowing internally that that's not who I actually am. Like I do want more for my life than everybody else.
I love that.
And so when you speak that into yourself, and when you really start to take care of that part of your vision, that's when things start changing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about entrepreneurship for just a minute. What does entrepreneurship in dentistry mean to you right now? Has that changed, like your view of what that means at all over the past 5 years?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like you hear the word for the first time, you're like, oh, it's like a businessman or a businesswoman just like on the go and making millions. But it's actually so much more than that. It's like putting in the hours. You're not seeing the direct reward for the work you're doing right now, but just having faith that is going to change.
And, I think that a lot of dentists struggle with that because, we're in healthcare, and it's all about taking care of the patient, putting them first.
Right.
And so I think that there are dentists out there who almost think that profit is like a bad word or something like that.
It's scary, right? Because dentists are always looked at like, oh, you just want to take my money. Or like some people think dentists are like scam artists or whatever. We just overtreat. So we always have that kind of like that fear of being looked at as like money hungry or just looking to make a profit. But
Look, at the end of the day, it's incumbent upon us as a dentist to be profitable, because
Right.
if we're not, then we can't get the great education for our team. We can't
Exactly.
pay top talent to stay. We
Exactly.
can't get the best labs. We can't get the best technology. We
Right.
can't create an
We
environment
can't do
where
the
people
best.
want to not only come and work, but want to come and feel
And
comfortable
stay.
as patients.
Right.
And so I stopped apologizing for being profitable a long time ago, because if I wasn't, guess what? I'm going to have to start cutting costs. I'm going to have to start cutting corners. That's not, as you know, that's not what I'm all about.
Yeah,
There is no
same.
compromise, whether we're going to Dubai and doing these great experiences, or you're my patient in my practice, and I see you in exactly that same way.
I feel exactly the same way.
And that's why when you don't learn about business and dental school, it puts us at a huge disadvantage.
You're
And
working out of a feeling of scarcity, like
Yes,
a scarcity
right.
mindset.
Yeah.
But when you start thinking in an abundance mindset, then that's when things start changing.
Yeah, it's
As
exactly
long as
right.
you're ethical, as long as you're about the patient and
That's
about the
exactly
humans
right.
around you, do whatever you need
It's
to
that
do.
simple. It's the
It
golden rule.
really
Like,
is.
just do right by others.
Exactly.
You know, how do you
It's
want to be
not that
treated?
hard.
It's really
And then the
not.
money comes.
That's
Once
right.
you start doing that, the money comes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that abundance mindset attracts
100%.
all of those things. And,
100%.
when you're creating value for other people and doing it the right way, then yeah, the money typically follows, but that's not what you're chasing. You're chasing, excellence. You're chasing that ability to create an environment that people want to, where
Right.
they want to be with you. So
Yeah.
I love that. And I think
Yeah.
it's really important, especially for young dentists, to kind of
Yeah.
take that in and embrace it early in their career.
There's a Arabic proverb. It's do good and throw it in the ocean. Just do good and throw it in the ocean. And that's something I live by, because every time I just think like that, when there's no direct reward that I can see coming out of the good I'm doing,
Yeah.
I'm throwing it into the ocean with the trust that it's just going to come back to me. And it has come back every time. And so
Exactly.
that's just how I live my life. And I
Yeah.
think it's done me well.
So if we fast forward 5 to 10 years, like, what does your life and practice look like? I mean, I know it's hard to predict.
It's hard.
5 to 10 years. I mean, what would you like it to look like?
Just an environment that is comfortable
Mhm.
for myself, my patients, my staff, my
Mhm.
family, something that inspires others to either be a patient, to go to the dentist for the first time,
Mhm.
or also a place that, also being a person that my daughter can look up to as she gains experience and graduates, instead of be like, I want to be like mommy, and like getting
beautiful.
those the girls that I'm mentoring, like showing them that they can do this too.
Man, that's music to my ears, and it
Yeah.
actually brings the next question ties right into that,
Yeah.
because if your daughter watches this episode one day, what would you want her to understand about, like, how you built your career
Yeah.
and like, just kind of the woman that you've become?
Just that God, you're gonna make me, I'm getting
It's
emotional.
okay. It's an emotional
Yeah.
topic, and
Yeah.
it's the most important thing in your life.
Just that her mom is doing the best she can, and doing the most right by people that she can, to build this thing, to inspire others, to fulfill my purpose as somebody in service to other human beings. Just being in service to others is just always been something I love to do, but doing that in a way that I can incorporate my career,
Mhm.
my faith, my family, just bring all that together in one. That's what I want to show her that she can do.
I know she's little, but she's already proud of you, even if she's not aware of it all yet. I can't wait for her to watch this at some point, where she really understands, like,
Yeah.
just the beautiful human, great dentist, and just wonderful mother that you are. And we're always
thank you.
becoming who we're going to
Right.
be.
Always
But
in that.
when you can combine all of those elements and see that as your priority in life, then you're going to have an impact not just on her, but the other people whose lives you touch. So when people hear the name Dr. Dua Farhoud,
Mhm.
5 years from now, what do you want that to represent?
Integrity, honesty, being just a good person, somebody that you can approach, somebody that's been successful in life and in career-wise, and in my personal life, somebody that, that you can just trust, whether it be like with your teeth, or trust as like just a person to talk to
Mhm.
get advice from, or to just sit with and vent. That's the kind of person I want to be.
Well, I tell you what, I see a really bright future for you on so many different levels. And, I don't even think you see it fully. I don't think you see it as clearly as I do. Like the things that are going to happen for you in career.
You tell me that a lot, and I'm just like,
it actually makes me a little emotional
Aw.
because I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
I'm excited, again, for the dentists whose lives you're going to touch, and you're going to be a part of everything that I do moving forward.
I'm so ready.
Yeah, well, I'm
ready.
really happy. And, man, I'm so glad you came to Chicago. I know it was kind of a last-minute trip.
Right.
You came and you got to be a part of the Chicago Midwinter Dental Meeting. When I got here the other day, it was 65 degrees.
Yeah.
Now it's like 25
Like,
degrees.
Jim, I thought it was supposed to be nice
I
out.
know, right? Right? That's Chicago for you.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the conversation.
I did too. It was
It's
great.
always fun to get together, but to be able to share a conversation with like this
We
with other
needed this.
people,
Yeah.
I think there's just a lot of value in that. I think that
so
a lot
too.
of people will learn a lot from you and your words of wisdom. And
I hope so.
I think it's just the beginning of something really beautiful for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're proof that dentistry doesn't have to be small. It can be expansive, personal, global, and deeply rooted all at once. I mean, this is my formal outro for you because I just want to make sure we hit it on all cylinders because this is you. From New Orleans to Dubai, from neuroscience to aesthetic transformation, you're building a career defined by identity, intention, and courage. If today's conversation resonated with you, our listeners, whether you're a dentist, a student, or someone who knows you're meant for more, take her life, take her example as permission to be the best version of yourself because that's exactly what she's doing. So the rooms that you step into matter. The environments you choose matter. And sometimes saying yes, like Dua did last summer, changes everything.
Changes everything.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being part of the Foundation Dental Alliance. And I hope you tune in next week for the next podcast episode. Thanks again, Dua.
Thank you, Jim.
This has been the Foundation Dental Podcast. If this conversation was valuable, share it with a colleague who's building something meaningful. For more leadership resources, visit foundationdentalalliance.com.